Okay, awesome. Well, welcome on this lovely Friday afternoon, and thank you for being with me here today as I share with you some information about one of my favorite subjects, all about discovering the power of teaching people to fish. It sounds like it should be such an easy thing to be able to wrap your head around, but goodness, I don't know. I think there's still too many instances out here where people are happy to toss fish to people, but looking for to give some time to actually help more people learn how to fish. That's what we're all about, and hopefully we can find a few more people as we go along today and into the next few weeks who might want to assist us in this endeavor. And yes, we are right now putting out some proposals to some local organizations that have expressed interest in the past in us putting together an apprenticeship program for some of their folks to be able to teach some basic entrepreneurial skills to people who are in some of our, as we often call them, wealth challenged communities. So let me just dig in here and just share a little bit with you guys. Hopefully my screen sharing and everything will work the way it's supposed to. There we go. All right. So for today, we're talking a lot in the community right now about long-term unemployment and in some cases lack of meaningful work. It's kind of interesting because most people really aren't totally dialed into some of what's going on out here in terms of employment situations. Most people know that Don and I are working with a lot of people who have been, in some challenge situations, whether they're in homeless shelters or whether they're just coming through the justice system. There's a lot of those folks that we do work with. But there's also another challenge out here that very few people are talking about, and yet I hear people kind of whispering about it more and more as I go along. And that is some of the challenges of our younger generations. There are a lot of young people who started college and never finished. There are a lot of them who finished but haven't found the kind of job that they were looking for. There's too many young people who have racked up a pile of college debt and are not doing anything that's going to allow them to pay that off and to be able to have the freedom that they would like to have out here to build a life for themselves. So I've even had financial planners kind of hushed telling me that they have clients who are actually paying for apartments for their young people who have dropped out of school and such. And one of the kickers is that there's a lot of young people out here who are interviewing the interviewers and telling them that if they can't explain to them how they're going to be able to make an impact in the community by going to work for their business or company, then they're not interested. So we have our folks who are just plain stuck because of oftentimes circumstances that may have been beyond their control, some of them because of choices they made. But then we have this other group of young people who are just kind of hidden, and they're not out here in the employment ranks. They're not even sure what they want to do with their lives at this point. So we have these long-term unemployment situations going on at all levels of society. And a lot of people really don't understand that. We've got new grads, we've got MBAs, we've got PhDs, and I see them all coming through my classes that I teach at Wake Tech. So I have definitely seen quite an array of folks who are stuck in this unemployment situation. So let's see, my silly little thing doesn't want to go the way I want. There we go. And so one of the things that we had an opportunity to observe is what happened in the city of Ferguson a couple of years back. My husband and I got to actually go there and visit several months after the riots happened. And it really was a sad situation to see that there's just so many people who are feeling so angry, and you know, their anger is just being projected into communities and burning down businesses, like businesses are the problem, and there's something evil about them that needs to be wiped out. And you know, I understand where some of that anger comes from just because of some of the places that Don and I have been teaching and coaching and working. But I'm sure there's many others that I'm not aware of. But one of the things I can tell you is there's a lot of people who have natural skill sets, natural abilities to be involved in marketing and sales, entrepreneurial skills, and they're just not being cultivated in the school systems. And this is one of the key reasons that we have heard from a lot of people in terms of why they got bored in school, why they dropped out of school, was that they just didn't see that the natural skill sets they had were being taken seriously, and they weren't being shown what they could do with them. And so these photos are actually from Ferguson. Most people have no idea that there was this street in downtown Ferguson that was all small businesses, and the storefronts had paintings on them like this. And I love the one on the right. This is Help One Another, for we're all in the same boat. That actually became the photo that's on the cover of my book of Building the New Underground Railroad. The playbook is because there was a lot of small business owners who were promoting the idea of unity and peace and working together and helping us all to remember that we're all in the same boat. And unfortunately, that never got covered by the media. But anyways, we're looking at the landscape as a whole and just recognizing there's a lot that we, especially we in the small business community, we as individuals can be doing to help more people to cultivate these skill sets and not end up being so frustrated and angry about things they're seeing in society that they feel the need to go and burn down a town. We don't need more of that. So, and how do we know some of these things? Well, because of the folks that we've been working with and some of the conversations that we've been having. You know, some of the stories that I tell in my book are all along this line. I'll never forget one gentleman who was in my class, and he had recently come out of prison, and I was teaching him just some basic knowledge about ways to start businesses that were fairly simple, didn't cost a lot of money, and he just broke into tears. And I'll never forget that, because it was such a shock to me. And I looked at him and I said, you know, did I do something wrong? And he said, oh no, Ms. Kramer, I'm just thinking about how much I wish that you had been in my high school teaching me the things you're teaching me now. Because it just occurred to me that if you were, I probably would have stayed in school. I probably wouldn't have ended up in the streets, and I very probably could have become a legal entrepreneur instead of an illegal one. And you know, that just tugged at my heartstrings in a big way, because there is still a huge need in our school systems to be helping people who have these natural skill sets to further develop them and to point them in the right direction before somebody gets bored, goes to the streets, drops out, and just ends up doing the wrong type of entrepreneurship. You know, we worked with teenagers, and at first they didn't know how to take us. They weren't really sure that they understood why we were there and why we were trying to help them. But as we learned from each other, and they started to understand that we were really interested in their ideas and what it was that they really wanted to be doing, they became very enthusiastic, very excited. And these were kids often that were in foster care. They were in some cases already on probation. There were some that were very close to dropping out of high school. And by engaging them in these entrepreneurial processes and giving them some decision-making ability in them, it really started to shift how they were thinking about a lot of things. They realized that they could be in control of creating their own income and doing it in ways that they would really enjoy. And you know, even middle schoolers, we worked with some middle schoolers about 1.5 years ago. And again, when you start asking them questions and getting them talking about things that matter to them, they become so much more engaged and they learn. I had a situation with a high school where I got a call 1 year after I worked on a volunteer basis with a entrepreneurship class in the high school. And they came back to me and told me 1 year later that that group had a higher end of grade test score than ones before or after. And I told them, well, you know, they were doing reading, they were doing writing, they were doing arithmetic, but they were all doing it about writing business plans about things that mattered to them. And that made the learning relevant, and it got the kids engaged in ways that they apparently hadn't been for quite some time. So when we're out here working in the community, whenever I can, and I can't do this as easily with our younger population, but I can definitely do it with any adult population in Wake County, we love to start by bringing people through the Find Your Song and Sing It class that I actually teach through Wake Tech. And, you know, if I'm working with younger people, we do a simplified version of it, and it can't be done through Wake Tech. But just getting them into the mode and the mindset of being able to think about job search and what would you be doing if you had a support structure around you that allowed you to make money in a way that would really make you happy. And what we have found over and over again is that there's a lot of folks in these challenge communities who just have developed this huge passion around being able to help other people who have been through similar challenges as to what they've been through. They don't have the support structure they need to make it happen. They don't have the resources so often. And this is one of the reasons why there's a group of us that are coming together in the Raleigh area. In fact, there will be a meeting next week, I think it's at noon on Wednesday, to talk about this whole vision that we have for creating a residential entrepreneur incubator. And, you know, there's a place on Capitol Boulevard that we would love to see this happen, because we recognize that for a lot of people, they've got to have a roof over their head. We need to take away the survival issues before they can seriously consider these things. But at any rate, we've brought the Find Your Song and Sing It class into homeless shelters. We've worked with the formerly incarcerated community. I've just been asked to do a 90-minute introduction to the concept of Find Your Song to take into the Wake County Jail. I've never been cleared to teach in the jails before, but apparently in about a month I will be. So that's an exciting thing to me as well. So we start with that whole class in terms of teaching people, you know, to think about what it is they really want to do to be able to produce income. And then the second piece of it is to set them up with an apprenticeship. And I use the term apprenticeship. I guess more people may be more familiar with thinking in terms of work study. We hear a lot about work study programs. I came from an apprenticeship many years ago in manufacturing. I went straight from high school into a 3-year manufacturing program as an apprentice, where I learned manufacturing from the ground up. So we look for business owners that are willing to mentor people in their business or individuals who may say, well, you know, I'm either not a business owner, or maybe you know, what I'm doing might not be quite appropriate for an apprenticeship situation, but perhaps I can join you guys in helping with some of the sales processes that you've got going on. So as an example, a year ago, we had a gentleman come with us to Southeast Raleigh High School, and he took a group of high school students, and the school actually let us use a computer lab after school. And he was teaching these teens about doing sales and marketing activities, actually doing some telemarketing and email marketing for his business. So that was an awesome apprenticeship program where they got to work in a business, but it was right there at their school, and they learned hands-on about sales and marketing. Our goal is, with the apprenticeship programs, is we want them to have the opportunity to make money. And so that's the whole thing, is if they're working in a real business, either with an existing business owner or you know, somebody who maybe partners with us in one of our businesses to teach them, they have the ability to make some money and to not only get the hands-on experience, but to gain the confidence that they actually have the ability to produce income on their own. And for some of the folks we work with, to see that they can do it in a legal business is a huge, huge thing. Just like the gentleman who broke down in tears in my class. And so once they kind of go through that initial class, we take them through apprenticeship. Then we allow them to start to put together like a one-page business plan about what is their song, what is it they're passionate about, and how could they even use some of the skills that they're acquiring now to start to build some income that will allow them to move in that direction. That's the big thing, is allowing them, giving them permission to explore what this heart song is all about, getting them to a place of feeling that internal motivation that comes from that vision that they've got, and then being able to show them that there can be stepping stones, and some of them may be small and some of them may take time. But if they can see that there's actually a path, some stepping stones that could take them towards whatever their song is all about, now that becomes a source of motivation, internal motivation, that can't be stopped. And for some of them, it's a very, very strong motivation that people just have not allowed them to be able to engage with and get moving in a positive direction. So that's the reason for our apprenticeship program. We know of some organizations locally that are actually doing some wonderful work in taking some of the folks from these challenge communities and just immediately launching them into a business. There's a couple right now. There's billboards all over the state for brianhamilton.org. He's doing fabulous work with helping people who've come out of the justice system to start businesses. But I've talked to some of his employees, and they admit not everybody is ready to jump right into launching that business. So that's why the apprenticeships are an important part, to show them, you know, give them some hands-on sales and marketing experience, the opportunity to make some money, and to be able to build the confidence that will allow them to kind of take a next step. So as I just mentioned, the skill sets they develop, sales, marketing, and confidence in their ability to produce income. We also teach them about telling their story as it relates to how they wish to help others. So many of them have a story, and some of them have a really powerful story that is part of their mission. It's part of their passion. It's their why for why they want to engage in business of some sort. And one of the things that we ask people to do that we're working with is to just be able to record a short video, usually not more than 2 to 3 minutes, that tells their story and how it relates to how they wish to help others. It's their why, it's their cause, it's their mission, it's their purpose. And videos, short videos, can oftentimes be able to help people just communicate from the heart what it is that they're working on producing and developing. And then the other thing that we do in our apprenticeship programs that is severely lacking in any program we have seen out here is we help them to start to develop some basic computer and internet skills. And yeah, there are, I know Wake Tech has a lot of programs out here to help people with some really basic computer skills. We try to get them through something like that to make sure everybody's got the basics of being able to be online and understand about email and understand about things like that. But we try to take them to the next step beyond that, and just using a simple internet marketing tool that we have called iWebAtool, we show them how they can put up their own website in about 5 minutes. The biggie is to be able to get them to record that video that talks about their story and what it is they're looking to develop, and then that gets put into this web page, and it becomes a lead generation page for them. And again, it can be put up in about 5 to 10 minutes. So that's a key piece, because the internet still has the ability to level the playing field. And there's just painfully very, very few organizations anywhere that are teaching those skill sets. So we're tackling it head on and showing them not only how to put that website out there, but to understand the power of things like email marketing. Because once they've got that page out there, we can all become part of their lead generation network. And that's what I do, is I use their lead generation page as a place to put other people into a database for them that have a similar vision. Because that's part of what we're also doing, is helping these people to connect with other people who have a like vision. And even if it's, you know, maybe there's somebody else who's already forming a nonprofit out here, or a social enterprise, or a for-profit business that's in alignment with what they want to do. That's part of our job, is to help them collaborate and connect with like-minded people, so they realize that business doesn't have to be done by yourself. It doesn't have to be done in a vacuum. And so that's a big component of what we're doing as well. And lately we've been talking a little bit more about our human potential mentor that we worked with many years ago. His name's Mark Hamilton, and one of his favorite sayings has always been, make all the people wealthy, including the poor. That was one of our taglines when my husband ran for governor in 2012 as an independent candidate. And another saying that Mark is very, very passionate about is, creating value is how our brain experiences happiness in life. The human mind needs to become a creator. And that, to me, is one of the biggest challenges that we have with our school system right now, is that there's not enough where people are being encouraged to be that creator. And business is all about creating value. And if we want more happy people, more people who are not angry and feeling like they're ready to commit suicide, we have too many depressed people, too many angry people. And so creating value, that's how our brain experiences happiness in life. And that's why we truly believe we need more people out here getting engaged, giving a little bit of time to help people figure out how can they start their own businesses. And the kids we've worked with who've been involved in some of our apprenticeship programs have had a ball as they realize that they can do more than they realized that they could do. So part of what we do with our programs is we set up live and virtual retail sites. So, we've got people at the fairgrounds flea market that have allowed us to be able to take people there and set them up to kind of practice their sales and marketing skills, get involved and get in selling products, either some of the ones that we work with, because we have literally 11,000 different products that we have for sale that people can partner with us and get involved in helping to sell those products. Or like in the case of our friend who helped out at the high school last year, you know, we were able to use the school's computer lab and have kids getting involved in telemarketing and email marketing. We also can set up pages that are virtual retail sites and get people involved in helping to promote those virtual retail sites and get them engaged in being able to make money that way. So, you know, we have all kinds of products within these companies that we work with that people can get engaged in helping to sell. And again, when we work with people in the apprenticeship programs, we encourage you to bring your business if you have one. If you've got products that you can mentor other people, or services that you can mentor other people and get them engaged in sales and marketing, be able to share some of your profit or your commission or whatever with some of these folks, they love it. There's so many things that they can get excited about doing. And so these are our fundraising and our sales and marketing tools. But again, we encourage other people to bring their business to the table and figure out, how could you work with some of these communities? Because some of the people we work with, they'll want to include their own creations, and there's plenty of room for you to bring some of your creations to the table to be able to work within these apprenticeship programs as well. And the beauty is that with some of the programs that we work with, like iClub Biz and Longevity Services, we actually have the ability to put people into a team. They can actually become an official business owner, and it costs them $0. We can put them in iClub Biz, where they can sell that internet marketing system. They can sell a travel club, and it costs them nothing to become part of the team, to be able to officially say, I am a business owner, and they can start selling. Longevity Services, same kind of thing. We have a telecare program. $20 a month, and a whole family gets 24/7 access to be able to get a doctor or pediatrician on the phone anytime, day or night, and usually within about 15 minutes. So, you know, that's another service that somebody can get engaged in selling, and there's no cost for them to get involved. So these are just some of the ways that we help people start to learn hands-on about sales and marketing. And yeah, direct sales is how we do it. Because I'll tell you, one of the things that happened about 2 years ago, I was teaching some of these concepts in a mental health facility. This was an organization that was dealing with a lot of people coming through substance abuse and other mental health issues. And I started explaining to them about this concept called the cash flow quadrant. And, you know, basically, if you haven't seen this before, it's a Robert Kiyosaki kind of program. And he talks about that an E stands for being an employee, an S is for self-employed, the B is for a business owner, and the I is for an investor. And, you know, I was explaining how an employee or self-employed person basically is trading their time for money. A business owner or an investor is actually making money and having more time freedom as well. And when I explained about how that can actually set you up to have money dropping in your checking account and you don't even know it's coming, I had one guy make a marriage proposal. He was like, how do I want to marry you if you got money that shows up? And, you know, but they had never heard this concept. They never ever heard of the idea of residual income and how you can build income that will continue to come in and give you the time freedom to be able to help other people in the ways that you want to do it. Recently, we've actually modified the cash flow quadrant, and I'm going to actually have to create my own graphic around it, because what we've done is we've modified this investor piece, and we've said, You know, what we do is, as business owners with the network marketing companies that we work with and the money we make, we take a good chunk of, and sometimes up as much as 50% of what we make in those commissions, and we put it into a separate account we call We Care Partnerships. And so instead of investing directly in other businesses, like a lot of investors would do, we're investing in the community. We're taking that money and investing in the community by giving our time, allowing us to use that time to go out there and do some of these programs. But sometimes we'll invest in some of these people too. If there's somebody who really seems to catch on and wants to be in one of these teams, we can invest in the community that way as well. So this is the biggest reason why we're using direct sales and network marketing to help out here. But the other reasons you've probably heard of too. You know, nobody has to stock any product. It's a click and order kind of situation. Nobody has to do accounting. Money gets paid direct to the companies and the commissions get paid directly back to participants. There's the ability to easily pay multiple members of a team for each sale. So you could have somebody in a team who is a sponsoring organization. You could have an advertiser in the team. You can have investors in the team who are investing in some of our apprentices. And then you can have sales consultants in the team. And so all of those people together can get paid off from one sale because of the beauty of the network marketing structure. And then, of course, there's the relatively low-cost startup if there's people who actually want to have a business. So that's why we use this. And we do some things very differently than what a lot of people in network marketing do. We build teams that focus on natural skills and talents. So we very often will put together in one of our teams somebody who's playing the coach, and then under them, somebody who is more of a connector, somebody who's really good at generating prospects, generating leads, or just being a good referral person. And then in that team, we also have somebody we call a consultant. And this is usually the role that some of our apprentices are going to play. Their job is to learn about the product or service and be able to talk to people about it with the intention of actually closing a deal. The big problem that most of our folks have out here in wealth challenge communities is they don't have a productive network. So we have to connect them with somebody who can play a coach role for them, and we have to connect them with somebody who can be a lead generator for them because they do not have the productive network. However, there's a lot of people who are great at lead generation and referrals who don't have the time to explain to people about a product or a service. And that's why we put the consultants and the connectors together so that they can collaborate and be able to share in the profits together. It's a very different way from what anybody else is doing out here in terms of working with direct sales and network marketing. And we do have some advertising alliance people right now. These are people who have helped us with lead generation and will probably continue to, and there will be some other organizations as well. But we have a friend who has an internet radio, a whole series of internet radio stations. He's allowed us to partner with him in the past and be able to generate leads through those radio stations. The City Insight magazine is a locally owned magazine. And Joseph Crawford has been amazing at working with me and our programs so that we can be able to generate leads through the activities of his magazine. And then this happens to be our friend Craig, who is over there at the Fairground Flea Market. He actually allowed us a year ago to have high school students in his store as apprentices for what we were doing. So those are people who are the connectors. They're the lead generators. We bring people in who can work on teaching about the products and services and get them to a place of being able to close sales. And so, you know, and again, helping each participant after they come through that apprenticeship program to start to work on the idea of, yes, you can live your song. And for some of them, you know, some of them, we may help them write a book. You know, I spent no money to publish this particular book, and I did it all the way I did it on purpose, because I wanted to show people who don't have any money that they can get their story out there too. So mine came through Create Space. I already told you where this photo came from. That's from Ferguson. I wrote everything. I had my husband kind of be my editor. We uploaded the thing. It cost us nothing. So that's part of what I teach other people is you've got a story, it deserves to get out there, and I did it without spending any money. You can too. And then helping them through having that simple website, helping them to find their tribe, their supporters, other people who are doing the same kinds of things that they want to be doing. And, you know, showing them that it can be a collaborative effort. They don't have to be in it alone out here trying to do some of these amazing ideas that they've got. So this is where I kind of just let you know there are options. There are ways that you can help an effort like this. And if you're inspired to help out in some way, you know, awesome. We are excited to have you. If not, there's no judgment here. We understand this isn't for everybody, but we hope that you at least have learned something about what we're doing here where you can help us spread the word to other people. And so one of the things that people can do to help, option one, is just kind of swap where you shop a little bit. Shop to benefit this cause. We have over 11,000 products on the We Care Partnership website that are available that could be purchased by somebody to help us generate more cash flow that we can invest into the community. Option number two is some people may consider becoming a mentor to our apprentices, our participants. You can bring your company or join one of ours. And there will be required training for people because I want them to get into a little bit more of the Live Your Song process so you understand how we do it, and that becomes part of the process that you're aware of as you're working with our apprentices. Right now we have March 1st from noon to 4 set up at Team Nimbus in Raleigh for people who would like to go through this training. And it is fee-based training, although if somebody who is unemployed or underemployed wants to take it, there is a sliding scale. Anybody else, you know, the fee is part of helping to support the work that we're doing out here. So again, that's on March 1st from noon to 4. And helping option number 3 is to just consider investing in one of our participants. You know, allow them to leave the program with a business of their own. While some of our businesses cost them nothing to be a part of, some of them are like $25 if they really wanted to get into nutrition and health and wellness. If they wanted to get involved in helping to spread the word about legal services, that's more like a $99 investment for them. But some of them would get really excited. And there's even a way that you could position yourself to get a return on that investment if you were interested in any way. So that is the crux of what I wanted to share with you today. And as Leslie so wonderfully reminded me a few days ago on her Facebook page, yes, there has to be a call to action somewhere. So I've given you 3 options of ways that you could support if you so choose. But the big thing that I'm going to ask you to do as a favor is to go to my WeCarePartnerships.com website. And it's just WeCare-partnerships.com. And if you go to that site, and I think I've got it here where you can see it, assuming, yeah, there it goes. WeCare-partnerships.com. You will see on that page that there is a link that says survey. And so it would be a huge, wonderful thing if you could just click on that where it says survey and be able to give us your feedback about this presentation. And if there's anything that you're curious about with fundraising products or interested in learning about training to become a mentor, you can click on these links and be able to let us know how it is that you would like to help. So that is the one thing you can do for us, is fill out that survey and just let us know what you think. And again, not about judgment on anything if it's not for you, but any feedback you can give us is extremely appreciated and extremely helpful. So I'm going to shut off the recording at this time, and Yes.